Okay. Am I live? All right. You know what? I really wanted to do my spirit animals because I thought, you know what? Like, who doesn't resonate with the spirit animals, right? I guess I'll still start off with this because, like, I felt drawn to do that. But then I was also like, oh, well, maybe I should do one for Virgos. And, like, is it a very Virgo reading if I just use spirit animals? But all Virgos aren't the same, right? I'm sure we all, like, identify with different things. So sometimes I like, ooh, look, I'm splitting on the dragon and the moth. That's a really interesting energy. Kind of giving, like, Godzilla and what's Mothra. And then we have Hyena, who also has a moon out there. So Dragon and Mothra. So this is like maybe some like new moon energy. And then we have a Stingray. The interesting about that Stingray is it has like the chakra spine. You know what though? I can never see that Stingray card and not think of Moana's grandma anymore. And then I'll move on to something else. So bottom is the shark. So let's see what else is in here. Because I don't know yet if that's you. You know, sometimes like when I read regular tarot, a lot of times I'll take reversed and inverted cards as somebody else in your energy, right? But a lot of times when I read with this spirit animal deck, I don't always take them as somebody else because I will note that they're like upside down because that means that whatever that energy represents for you that is out of balance. But in balance, we have some scorpion energy, some fox energy, and the stingray. So usually, which I saw that stingray, I saw it when I was shuffling and I was talking about it, and then it came out. So there's quite a bit of water here. Quite a bit of water. With minor touches of earth, air, and fire. So we have all our elements present. So usually like this bee energy is like this really hard worker. And then the fish energy is usually like this relaxed energy, right? This swimming with the current. And I'll go ahead, usually whenever I use the spirit animal deck, I'll read out of the book, and I will do that. But this is kind of, you know what it's saying to me already? I feel like, regardless of whatever we get into over here and what this says about you, I feel like technically with this shark energy represents, ooh, and behind the shark we have the octopus. Look at all this water energy. So like maybe I was going to do this for a Virgo, but maybe you identify as like a Pisces, Cancer, or Scorpio. But this shark feels like a mix of hunger and hunting kind of energy. Like somebody who is really ready for something. And with sharks being carnivores and liking to eat meat, you know, like they always smell that blood in the water, you know. So like maybe right now as well, your senses are really heightened at this time. So like energetically, you're easily picking up on things that basically, so like if you were a shark in the water, your ability to smell blood in the water would be extra heightened. So maybe you're not in the water, you know, and not necessarily out to per se kill anybody, but you're definitely out to get a meal, fulfill your needs, uh, you know, hungry for more. something else that's not in your life. I feel like normally you're really given to working hard and going with the flow of life, but I feel like both of these things have you a little burnt out. And or maybe it feels like for having done all that, it hasn't filled this need you have, so it's leaving you hungry, you know? Octopus are really smart. They're really intelligent. Some people are starting to believe that they may be an alien species that was left behind here once upon a time. Could be. So usually sometimes the fox can be like a tricky energy, but also about foxes is that they're really resourceful. They're pretty good at scrounging. They're also really good at hunting and finding meals. This stingray is a really nice, healthy energy. Um, I feel like where this fish is reversed, you know. So maybe like I feel like maybe for you the stingray energy is normally much stronger. Yeah. So it says that the fox is representing your energy to be a strong partner or mate, and that you're really good at management and teaching. Yeah, so the stingray talks about developing your confidence and a sense of self in your spine. And it's, oh, yeah, all right. So this stingray is representing wanting to grow, which is interesting because we see the shark is like wanting to hunt and eat and to fill that need. So, like, you know, this with the fox being a teacher and somebody who's ready to grow, it kind of gives both that being some in teaching somebody else something, you're gonna learn something about yourself. And the person that you're gonna teach something to is also gonna teach you about something that you also need, which is really interesting. And it says that the stingray card represents a pivotal point in your personal growth. Yep, and that octopus behind the shark talking about reaching and yearning, telling you, I feel like you're ready. You're ready. So, you know what? If there's something you've been wanting to do in life and you weren't sure if you're ready, you are ready. And maybe you don't have the confidence to like fully believe in yourself yet, but you know, anybody who embarks on something new, there's always going to be a learning curve, you know? And I'm sure once you get started, the more you do it, the more you'll learn and you'll adapt and you'll figure it out. So, like, what you lack in confidence, that'll come. That'll come as you do it. And yeah, and this shark is also representing directness and exposing the true nature and desires of things, you know? So maybe this is also, too, like, this shark is speaking to the fact that, like, when you were in this energy, it was masking your real self. And so the real you that lives deep down in you, that is hungry for something, is reawakening. And so this energy you were previously in is no longer going to sustain you. So, like, I feel like I'm going to pull all these because I feel like this is meant for you. This octopus and this shark, you're really ready to, like, you're ready to embrace something new and something different in your life, something completely different than what you've been doing. So that makes sense that you wouldn't feel too confident about it yet. You know, it's new, right? Anything new is anything new is going to make anybody, most people, probably a little bit nervous. And if it scares you a little bit, it's probably a good sign that you should actually definitely be doing it, you know? Because anything you're excited about should probably scare you a little bit. Yeah. The shark energy and balance is intriguing, captivating, and mysterious. Yes, this card indicates that something big needs to be exposed. I think that something big that needs to be exposed is something that is in you already. That's and the Scorpion talks about being passionate, competitive, and tends towards isolation. So right now, your energy is wild and fierce. And probably as this hunger to grow really ignites within you, you're probably not going to be able to resist that wired and fierce because it's a fire and it's burning inside you, you know? So it says your career is really important to you as well as a few select friends. It says sometimes the Scorpion's heat festers and they focus on an unresolved event from the past, usually a situation where they were left feeling burned. Scorpion card says it's time to come clean about your feelings to everyone so you can heal and you can get back to your usual self. Yeah, so, you know, maybe like this shark wanting to expose. So maybe you have like unresolved feelings. So there's a situation in your life where you try to bury your feelings about how you really felt about how something happened or played out. And you really just need to, if you're not ready to have a confrontation or sit down and talk about it with whoever was else involved, you at least need to be honest with yourself, right? And I felt like this card was looking at me and it wanted to be here. And it says it's time for a treat. So let's see. I'm just seeing if there's anything else that wants to. So we have some healing. It's time to heal. Tempting offer at a high price. So maybe this is like a situation where you felt like somebody sold you out and or you sold somebody else out. And sweet memories. So maybe wow. So this is kind of almost making me think of a reading I did recently where it's like, um maybe somebody else made you a deal. So like somebody came to you and gave you an offer to I don't know if I want to say betray because I don't know if it was a complete betrayal, but there's somebody in your life that you have sweet memories with, and um, maybe something happened in that situation that woke up this hunger, right? And so it started making you want to grow, and in your effort to want to grow, you encountered somebody else who made you a deal and said, "Hey, we'll give you this compensation, whatever it is, in exchange if you help us with handling this person." And so you did it. So now you have guilt. So you accepted some manner of compensation to betray somebody that you were actually having deep feelings for. And I feel like deep down, your own soul is asking you to come heal this. Maybe even if not for the person that you had memories for, but just so your own conscience, so you can come clean, okay? And that's important because you need to be able to have peace of mind, you know? Sometimes, you know, when people are given an opportunity to sell other people out, they may look at what they're being offered and think, wow, I really need this, you know? And so at the time they'll take it because they'll be like, well, I really needed it. And it was like it was almost like a miracle and the answer to what I really needed. But the action it requires you to take costs you something that you can never quite get over or get past, you know? And so it's like at the time, you're just thinking of the need that this person gave you an offer that was a solution to. But really, like, what seemed like a help, like the sacrifice you had to make and this person who was close to you, it's something that you're gonna have to decide if it was worth it to you. If it wasn't worth it, it's okay to tell yourself, you know what, I made a bad decision. Like, don't be trapped and held prisoner to your ego and be unwilling to even if you never tell this other person, just to be able to tell yourself, you know what, I fucked up. You know what? Because guess what? Everybody fucks up sometimes. You know what? Everybody makes mistakes. Everybody, nobody gets it right all the time. We're just humans and we make the best decisions with the information available to us. And sometimes we just don't get it right. And that's okay. You don't have to get it right 100% of the time. It just is what it is. You know, is it what happened, and there's a lesson there. And you need to learn the lesson. Don't stay a prisoner to the past because you're unwilling to learn the lesson to yourself. Because you know what's going to happen? If you can't learn that lesson that was there because you're just beholden to your ego, you're going to meet the same lesson in other people. And this cycle is going to repeat with everybody you meet in your life until you learn this lesson. Because you are in a karmic cycle. And the purpose of karmic cycles is to teach us a lesson. You're there to learn, and you're already in the energy of wanting to grow and wanting to be more and to do more and to be your best self. Okay, well, part of being your best self is also facing your ego and being willing to take that ego death and say, I messed up. I shouldn't have done this. From the beginning, I messed up. And or if it wasn't from the beginning, somewhere in there was a moment of choice, and you chose what you felt was realistic and was going to help you in a practical manner. But now that it's been done, there is an emotional consequence, because now your conscience is heavy because you feel like, wow, I you know I sold out the care that I had for this person and just like sacrificed this relationship that was beautiful to me. Why did I, like, it's and maybe there's some parts of you that aren't necessarily willing to own it as a mistake, because part of you are just not sure. It's like, well, should I have done that? I really did need what they gave me, and they gave it to me, so I got it. So it's not even like I was robbed and not given what I was promised in order to do this. But you know and that's something we have to think about, and that's actually the big reason why morals and principles are so important. Because at the end of the day, what's right and wrong is like, okay, but you're the one who has to live with yourself. So this other person that you sold out, maybe that person's already healed and they're going to go on with their life, and they'll never know what you did. They'll just see you as somebody who exited their life. But you know. And if you think you're thinking about it right now, dude, you're probably going to think about that for the rest of your life. Dude, in 5-10 years from now, you could be having a whole new family. You can be sitting out on a porch, growing old, being happy somewhere, and feeling like this is the perfect life and I should be ecstatic and having my best moment right now. But deep down in my soul, part of my heart knows that there's this thing I did to get here, and I just can't stop thinking about that. And then in those years, maybe it's not just 10 years. It could be 20 years, dude, for the rest of your life. On your deathbed, you will be thinking about the situation, okay? So I feel like don't be prisoner to this. Don't be held captive, because you know what that is? That's going to put you in bondage. So just own what happened. Own what happened. And if you want to be brave, tell this person what happened and see if you can heal this relationship. Because if you really have these sweet memories with this person and they're so dear to you and you want to grow from this, you know what? Like, some of the people that are the best and closest of friends have had a major falling out where something bad happened. And there is a different kind of trust that people build, that, you know, they're no longer under any illusions who this other person is. They've seen this person for the worst of them, the worst of their worst, and who they were, you know. And if you get to a place of healing and forgiveness and moving past it, there's a different level of trust and confidence that you build in people when you've been able to reconcile after breakings of trust. But I do feel like if you are going to talk to this person, maybe it's because this card talking about is time for a treat in healing. Maybe, like, if you want to, so like if you would like to, if you're being called to expose what happened in this situation to this other person, to seek, um, you know, maybe even if they don't forgive you, even if this doesn't come back around, doing it for yourself, doing it for your own personal growth. You could bring a treat, you could bring them a peace offering as well as part of, like, because I feel like this healing is important. Maybe bring them something that has to do with water or fish. There's so much, all this water energy present, in the tarot. Water is usually is considered like the deep emotions, right? I'm going to give a Rumi card, and then I'm going to close this out. But I haven't been doing readings as often lately. I've actually been really, really tired. I think I'm having DNA activations and all this, like, very recently. All my plants are blooming outside, and also recently I've been having like this really dense energy around my crown chakra and around my brain, actually. And it's making me really tired because it's a very dense, heavy energy. I don't know how to describe it, but I feel almost for certain that it's connected to the earth and all this Schumann resonance energy going on lately. I feel it. I don't know how to describe it, but I feel like something in the earth has woken up, and we're gonna find out what that is. Well, we're not going to find out through the reading, but I'm just saying we're going to find out what it is, because I feel like it's, for an energy this strong, it's not going to be able to stay hidden. I know I can't be the only person feeling this either. So these are my Rumi Oracle deck, right? And one of my favorite things about this Rumi Oracle deck is, like, they all have like this art. So all right, I'm going to do them in this order because I feel like this is the order to do them in. So first we're going to start with this one. And this one is called Beyond the Threshold of Fear. And it says, it is your fear that is holding you back, like a bar behind the door. Your relationship with fear is changing. No more shall it hold you in its thrall. You're becoming able to observe it, to experience it, and to have compassionate wisdom rather than resistance. Oh, what a spiritual marathon you have been running. Now the end is in sight. The power that you used to give to fear is now transferred to your extraordinary heart. Oh, I love that. That's beautiful. And now we have this one, which is like an angel coming to somebody who's crying in the dark. And it says, arise. Wings of hope languish from lack of use. Every cell in your body is created to rise to challenges. You have gumption, chutzpah, guts. You dare to love where others see only pain. You dare to believe that everything will work out where others only see what they judge to be wrong. You seek freedom where the world succumbs to manipulation and propaganda. And where others peddle fear, you recognize and know love's true power. I love this. This is great heart energy. Oh my gosh, I love it. And then this last one is this one. And this is commitment. So I feel like these build in a series. So first you have stepping beyond the fear, rising up, and then making this commitment to yourself. I feel like this is a commitment to yourself. I feel like this is a commitment to your higher consciousness, to the truth in your heart. I feel like this is a commitment to yourself. Maybe it's like a coming home to your true self, you know? And it says the awakened heart is like a lantern. Keep it sheltered from the turbulence of the winds of desire. The fear that your desire won't manifest may cause you to try to bend life to your will. It is an unnecessary battle and one that will not serve your soul. Instead, just show up, be present. Life is not working at cross purposes with you. Far from it. Life is a creative co-conspirator with your heart. So when it says like life is a co-conspirator with you at your heart, that's absolutely true. So um like people who like talk about law of manifestation, you know, people talk about where you're going to manifest how you truly feel about yourself. But what's even a deeper truth than that is, yeah, but what do you feel in your heart? And I feel like some people, and I feel like this could be especially, so maybe you're a masculine energy because like masculine energy is, um, when men are growing up, they're always taught they have to hide their feelings, and then it's not okay to be soft or be tender or show how you really feel about things. And, but we all have a heart, and it's really important to be in touch with your true heart's energy. Okay. And, um, when you run away or deny what's in your heart, you're really just denying yourself. And if you think that you're going to find peace and happiness when you deny your inner truth, you're not, dude. You're not. And I don't know who told you or made you think that it doesn't work that way. It doesn't. You can't lie to yourself and deceive yourself and live other people's truth and expect to feel fulfilled deep down inside. Because deep down inside, you need to reconnect with your heart and be honest with yourself about how you really feel. And if you're not, if how you really feel makes you feel bad or guilty, then that's just something that you need to face. You need to just be honest about it and tell myself, wow, yeah, I'm been messed up. I've been messed up. I've been devoting myself to these things that are not a reflection of the person that I want to be. And you know what the great news is that you don't have to be a prisoner or beholden to that. That was your past. That was your yesterday. We all have a past. We all have a yesterday. And today, you can choose to heal. Today, you can choose that you want to be connected with the deepest parts of yourself, that you want to connect with your inner child, with your higher consciousness. You know, that this heart energy, maybe in your heart, you were afraid to connect with your heart because somebody had hurt you really bad and it hurt. And to reconnect with your heart and your feelings means having to face a pain that's deep down, but that's okay, dude. Just face it and let it out. Because when you let it out, then you can release it. It's not like feeling it is going to trap you there. You've already been trapped there all this time. You've already been trapped in that hurt and that pain for this entire time that you've been running away from it. So why not look at it? Let it out, dude. Just let it out. Just let it out. You know how much lighter and better you'll feel. You'll look younger. You'll feel so much better, dude. And you know what? I don't know why, but I feel like the Holy Spirit was also just now speaking to me and telling me that there is some kind of illness or ailment that you've developed in your body over the last year or a couple years. And some of this sickness and ailments that's manifested in your body is a result of this pain that you keep suppressing. And when you let all of this out, it's going to not just heal your heart. When your heart heals, it's going to heal this other ailment that's also in you. So you feel the ailment in your physical body, but it is a manifestation of the emotional pain that you refuse to look at in yourself. If you've made it this far, because most people don't stay for a full 30 minutes, but if you stayed this far and listened to this whole message, you may want to consider getting a rating. I'm happy to do it. You don't have to be live with me, but if you want, I love doing live readings on Discord where you can watch me shuffle and watch me go through it. I can record it for you and send it to you. I can write it in a message, however you want, okay? I even do things where like we can do a you can pay what you think it's worth, you know? Especially like if we do it through Discord and you get a live reading where you're able to listen to it live in real time, you can pay what you think it's worth. I let people do that. You could just tip me and not buy it as an actual reading. You may want to consider that if you're still here and want to talk about healing. Because I feel like that's what this message is for, friend. You know, you need to heal. You need to heal and you need to let go of these things, okay? Like you made some mistakes and some choices that you're not proud of. Okay, everybody makes choices that they're not proud of. Everybody does. I don't care. Like if you know somebody in your life who you think never does bad things, I'm sure there are things they are not proud of that they feel embarrassed about, and you might not know about it because they're not talking about it. But just because people don't reveal these things to you don't mean that they don't have them. They have them too, you know? And nowadays, like people are so afraid to be open and honest and talk about how they really are. They just want to present a certain way so they can seem a certain way. So they can like make more friends and have more clout and be more famous and do all this and that. And it's like, you know, Jesus said to a man, "What profiteth a man if he gains the whole world and loses his soul?" You know, it's like, okay, well, you got all this, but what is it getting you? Because if at the end of the day, when you go to bed at night, if the thoughts of this situation are bringing back, and this is the thing too, it's like if what's happened in this recent incident is bringing you back to an old pain, so it's kind of almost given that you've already lived through another version of this before, but it's been a long time. And the feeling of regret you have about this is taking you back to that. Maybe it was somebody else did this to you and it hurt you really badly. And maybe, like, even if the circumstances are different, whatever happened with this person now, it's starting to make you feel like you're the other person from that old situation that happened to you, which I'm sure that's a conflict of feelings, right? Because when you've spent all this time feeling hurt by something that happens to you, and then now you've participated and become that person to somebody else, and now you're having to sit with yourself and say, who am I? Like, who am I? Like, I thought I knew who I was, but am I really that person? Have I lost the growth? I thought that this and this is how I thought I was, but can this be true of me? Is this really who I am? That I'm going to do this to this person who's been so dear to me, you know? And you could try to salvage it. I do feel like assuming that you can't is just an assumption, dude. You assuming that you can't fix something doesn't mean you can't fix it. It just means that you're assuming you can't fix it. And this is kind of giving me this feeling that you constantly make assumptions about people all the time without giving anybody the opportunity to choose for themselves and or show for their own selves in action. You act like you think you know what everybody's going to do in every situation about everything, as if all people abide by your system of logic. I hate to break it to you, but everybody doesn't live according to your system of logic. And your process of, well, if you do this, then you do this. Well, guess what? Everybody's not like that because everybody doesn't have the same values. Like, you'll sit there and think to yourself, well, you should treat other people as you want to be treated. But how people want to be treated is different between people. Everybody doesn't want to be treated the same. The way I want to be treated and what I want to get from people, I do act that way towards people and I never get it. You know? But, like, um, like the thoughts and the process you have that have you decide this is what you should do. Like, sure, you can pull over to the side of the road to help somebody change their tire if they get a flat tire on the freeway, but they're just a random stranger. What about this person who's near and dear to you, but you sold them out and you betrayed them? And you've known about it for a while and a long time and you just kept it secret. Dude, you were going to keep it secret and take it to your grave. And you think that make, like, no wonder you're having trouble reconciling these different sides of you. Of course you are. Of course. Now you have two different versions of you within you. And what you need to do now is here's what you need to do is you need to ask yourself, who do who do I want to be? Is this who I want to be? Do I want to be this person? And if your answer is no, then you need to take actions that are going to heal the situation. You need to decide, who do you want to be and have actions and behaviors that represent that person who you want to be. You need to show up as that person. But you can't show up as that person in a false, shallow way. You have to actually mean it from the bottom of your heart. Because if you don't mean it from the bottom of your heart, then you're just acting and just putting on a show. Stop acting and putting on a show. It doesn't matter what anybody else thinks. It matters about you being able to be happy with yourself and love yourself and feel good when nobody else is around. When you go to bed at night, when you're in the shower, when you're quiet moments, when you're on long drives, when these quiet feelings start to creep up and they haunt you, you just have to face it. Because once you face it, it won't keep haunting you. You just have to face it, feel it, name what it is to yourself so you can release it. If it doesn't leave you once you try to release it, then maybe you need to tell that person the truth. Maybe you need to confess to somebody, you know. And the point of confession isn't to give people things to hold over us. It doesn't matter what they do with it. The point of confession isn't for them, it's for us. Because you're clearing your spirit so you can clear your conscience, so you can have peace and reconcile with yourself and reconnect with your heart. And that's the most important thing. And so I'm going to end this here, and have a happy Sunday, and I hope we have a great rest of the week.